You've tuned in to the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
You realize what you've done?
With Rich Liebig.
A real gangster plays his cards, right?
And Michael Costanzo.
What was that you just read?
Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news.
Good times, noodle salad.
The point is, you now have the ability to be happy.
And now, here's Rich and Mike on the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
Woo! Yeah! How you guys doing?
What's up, everybody?
It is time for this week's episode of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. We've got topics in sports, entertainment, odd news, and whatever else we happen to stumble across in this hour-long or so podcast. It's a show, too. Why not? So it's an hour show. Hour and a half, whatever we do.
It's whatever we feel like.
Yeah, we try and, we try and keep things concise, but sometimes we do like to delve into certain topics. So.
We've been known to ramble.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a bunch of rambling men.
Yeah.
Isn't that a song, Ramblin' Man? Yeah.
Well, Ramblin' Man, yeah.
Ramblin' Man.
Yeah, so there you go. Take that, world. We're coming at you with this episode of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Before we get into sports, entertainment, and odd news, our usual buffet of meal topics, we'd like to do a little personal bit to let you know what we've been up to. So, Mikey, my friend, how are you doing? How is Costanzo country?
Doing pretty good. I watched Moana 2 this past
You
week.
love your animation.
I love my animation. I didn't get a chance to see it when it was in theaters. And thank goodness I didn't.
Oh, no. It doesn't sound like a good review coming from you.
No, not particularly.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What a shocker!
Well, I wouldn't say it's a shocker. The first Moana was fantastic. It was, I think, one of Disney's better movies recently. But
Is this
Moana
indicative
2,
of The Rock? Because we're going to talk about The Rock in the entertainment entree.
I've heard that he's a little difficult to work with on movies because he
Yeah.
has very specific language in his contract. Like, he can't ever lose a fight. He always has to be, like, his characters always have to be, like, perfect and yada, yada, yada. He always has to be in a good light.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's indicative of The Rock, but what I do know is that Disney should stay away from sequels in general, I think, just as a kind of, wholesale note. Because there was no reason for this movie to exist. That was my biggest problem with the movie. It was just thoroughly contrived, felt like it was rehashing some plot points, other plot points. It felt like the characters were weirdly just very different. They sounded and acted out of character from how they were depicted in the first movie. It was just a very disappointing sequel, and it bothers me when studios churn out sequels because of just raking in huge profits. I know why they do it, but
Yeah.
I like to
It's a safe bet.
Yeah, I like to go back to what Pixar says when talking about Toy Story movies, and they say they only make a sequel when there's a story that warrants it. Or like Neil Druckmann with The Last of Us, they only make a sequel when the story warrants it.
You sure about that?
What do you mean?
You sure about that? I don't
What's that?
know, because Last of Us is getting pretty popular. It wouldn't surprise me if he shoots out a Last of Us 3.
And that's always the big test, right? Is the call of the almighty dollar versus artistic integrity. And Pixar's failed at it too, because they not only made Cars 2, but they also made a Cars 3.
Yeah.
So that's pretty damning right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. But Moana 2, what I know about that is
Speaking of that,
is
The Last
not
of Us
good.
Season 2 will be hitting HBO in April.
Yes, it will be.
So, there, little plug.
Yeah, well, I know we're both big fans. We'll probably be updating people all along the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So that's what I did. Watched Moana 2. Was not thrilled. What have you been up to, though?
Is that it? You also have English teacher?
Oh, well, yeah, I figured I would just...
You just wrote English teacher on the rundown.
Well, that was also that was a new show, not a new show, a show,
show?
from last season that I didn't get a chance to get to. It's a comedy. It's a workplace comedy following...
Okay. You just
what?
wrote English teacher, and I had no
Yeah,
idea.
no.
Like, did you run into one of our English teachers? Like, what is this?
No, that's another show, too. It's really good. It's very, very funny. It premiered on FX. It's on Hulu now. It's getting no attention whatsoever, but it's been greenlit for season 2. It's really funny. It's about an English teacher in an Austin high school that is just trying to navigate the choppy waters of being a progressive in a red state and trying to teach his students while facing all the kind of things that life and, the new culture wars in society throws at us.
Yeah.
So it's just
Okay.
it's very funny. It's very funny. Very what's the word I'm looking for? It's got like some outrageous humor in it, and it's kind of, I don't want to say raunchy, but it's definitely a little bit more on the adult end of things, which I appreciate. So definitely check it out if you have a chance.
Okay. So there you go.
Yeah.
Mikey's review recommendations there.
Yeah. But what have you been up to?
So as I've said before, I'm on a little docu kick.
Still doing the docu kicks, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm catching up on my crime documentaries here.
Okay. So what you got for us this time?
I watched one on Netflix called The Vatican Girl. That was interesting.
The Vatican. I have not heard of that one.
Yeah, a girl went missing, and she lived inside the borders of Vatican City.
Okay.
So it's weird. It's like the Vatican police had to investigate it along with the normal Italian police.
Right.
Because there is jurisdiction.
The Vatican City is its own sovereign nation.
Yeah, for lack of a better word.
It is separate from Italy. It is like a country within a city within a country.
Yeah.
And they have their own police, the Swiss Guard. I was yelled at by one once for videotaping down an alley that I wasn't.
What?
Yeah, it was weird.
What'd you do, Mike?
I was just pointing the camera places, and I got
You
yelled
put
at.
that camera away. How dare you?
Yeah.
This is holy ground.
Maybe I caught it on tape. And maybe I should submit it to Netflix. I don't know.
For your own show?
Yeah. No, for whatever this documentary is. I don't know.
No.
What happened to the girl?
This girl just appeared in like 84.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
I wasn't there.
Right. You should not have been there in 84.
No.
Unless you're a time traveler.
Maybe. But so this documentary. Well,
Yeah, it
what's
was
about?
interesting.
Just this missing girl in the Vatican and how they had to kind of coordinate between countries.
Yeah, but also it's a weird, like, there's a lot of weird things that happen with like how the Vatican handled it.
Yeah,
And-
because they're kind of like their own thing.
Yeah. And there's kind of it's like part conspiracy theory, part crime drama, part religious overtones, part mafia. There's an angle that maybe the mafia was involved in it.
I mean, it is Italy.
Yeah. So it has like a good smattering of some of my favorite avenues to go down. But one of the things that I just found interesting, and this, and I need to springboard this off of somebody.
Okay.
One of the things that happened was there's like a global terrorist angle to this, that a terrorist organization claimed that they were the ones that held the girl, and that they demanded that the guy that shot Pope John Paul II needed to be released, or else they were going to kill the girl.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just a weird angle in the middle of this, that some global terrorist organization claims that they're responsible for this random girl being kidnapped.
Right.
And then they kind of tied it into like a religious prophecy that something like with like kind of like an offshoot of like the visions of Fatima, because one of the secrets of Fatima was that John Paul II was going to get shot or something.
How? No, wait. Time out.
yeah.
I don't remember the visions and all that stuff, but is
Yeah.
that really what it prophesied?
That was apparently one of them. Which this is the avenue I'm going to go down in.
okay.
So Rachel, I guess she might be in the same position as you. She might have heard of the Fatima prophecy, but she didn't know what it was. And
I have no idea.
And I had to explain it to her that it was 3 children. They saw a vision of
Right.
Mary, and they
Right.
got these
Was-
predictions
was
that were
this-
going to happen.
Was this the one in France or the one in South America?
This is the one. It was in Portugal, I think, if I remember off the top of my head.
Okay, so I was wrong on both counts.
Yeah, somewhere over there.
Right, like one kid has a vision, then another kid has
All
a
in the same
vision,
area.
all in the same spot. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's Mary comes down and
Right.
yeah, gives these
As she predicted,
proclamations.
Pope John Paul II is going to get gonna get gunned down.
Allegedly, she predicted.
Does Mary even know what guns are?
She well, she doesn't say that specific. She said something like
She said pop, pop.
Wow.
No, I'm making
Mary's
lights. Go ahead.
secret gun fanatic. No, it was the prophecies that she told the kids what hell was like, that World War II would happen, and that something bad would happen to the Holy Father at a certain time
These are not
period.
prophecies. These are fortune cookies.
Well, so here's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
I'm gonna after explaining all this to my wife, it hit me just funny.
Okay.
Like let's say this is true. Let's say everything happened, like everything exactly how it was designed to be.
Right.
Does that mean that like Mary wanted to come down and scare the piss out of 3 children?
Yes, 100%.
Like this is, you know what would be really cool right now?
Mary comes down and she could be like, "Oh, you're gonna grow up and have a loving family. And you're gonna have no war will destroy your country and rain hellfire upon." And also remember to
Here's
say
a
your
vision
prayers.
of hell.
Yeah, here's a
I'm
vision.
going to show you a vision of hell.
My main complaint is that these are not prophecies. These are fortune cookies or horoscopes, where it's just a generic phrase like "there will be global conflict." Okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations! Oh, guy, you looked into your crystal
Human
ball
history,
and
yeah.
saw that humans are human.
To me, I inadvertently made this comparison. I feel like she is the equivalent of like a supernatural astral David S. Pumpkins.
Dragon, I'm David Pumpkins, and I'm gonna scare the hell out of you.
Yeah, like that. I don't know why. I was like, is this how Mary came down and was like, I'm going to scare the hell out of these children?
This is actually the biggest prank pulled in human history, where all of our religions are just like these like omnipotent, omnipresent beings that are just fooling around with us. They're like, ooh, spooky stuff, and we just bought it.
Yeah.
But like Zeus is real. He's doing it, maybe, or some eternal being like in the MCU is like, it's just like trying to scare us.
Yeah. We're going to scare the hell out of you.
Because you're right, what heavenly authority would come down to like a 9-year-old and be like, hell? Be like, war, your family's going to die. Like what's wrong with you?
Hey, boy, look at this. It's fire and brimstone.
Yeah. You want to know what your family looks like when they're melted? There you go.
Here's Daddy in the fire.
Jesus.
Your mom might make it. Daddy's not going to make it.
Daddy's not going to make it.
No.
Remember the church you love so much? Yeah, the leader of that, he's going to get shot. I don't even know what a gun is, but it's going to happen.
Clap, clap.
Pop, pop.
Pop, clap, clap.
Like, yeah, no, she's just trying to just scare the crap out of these poor kids.
Yeah. So, I don't
These
know.
poor kids, they're living in some rural countryside village. They're
Right.
like, oh my God, we're all going to die. Like,
Yeah. If you believe the story to be true, that's essentially what you're believing in then.
I'll tell you what, that would have turned me away from the religion. If I had been one of those kids, I'd be like, never mind, I'm going to the other one.
I heard Buddhism's nice.
Yeah, they never appear to people and tell them about global conflicts that kill millions of people. That sounds way nicer. I'm gonna head out over there.
Yeah. All right. I'm glad somebody agrees with me on this. I don't know if you guys agree with me on it, but
I've never thought of it that way.
right?
You are a heavenly authority. You have a chance to appear to people, and you're like, I know. I get the time traveler's dilemma where they like want to prevent the conflict by warning people, but like, how about somebody who's not like 9?
Yeah, right? How about a world leader?
Why don't you appear like
or
a
scientist?
Right. Somebody who has power, like an up and coming 20-something-year-old political activist, and they're like at that juncture in life where they can either become a dictator or go to art school. You're like, go to art school. No, they picked the 9-year-old in rural Portugal.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Mama, Papa, world. And they're like, yeah.
Yeah. Go run back out, Billy.
Yeah, right.
Go see if you can find her again.
I'm actually annoyed at the Mother Mary now. Rich, you've single-handedly condemned me to hell.
Whoops.
Why would you do this to me?
Welcome to the Crispy Noodle Podcast. We have such light topics here on the.
You guys are coming with us now because you're thinking it too. God is like Santa Claus.
I'm sorry. I inadvertently doomed everyone to eternal damnation. I'm sorry.
This show took a real fast, hard turn. It's like Speed 2, but on a bus. We got to get out of this segment. We got to get to our news. That's what I know.
Okay.
Thank you for that one.
I'm sorry.
That's a brain teaser right there.
Sorry about eternal damnation, everybody. Speaking of damnation, how about we get to the sports news at hand with the sports sampler?
So you're not good at sports. It's a very small part of life.
Sports.
In your face. Ha ha! Sports coming at you in your face, not eternal damnation. Here we go.
No, not eternal damnation, but eternal glory. We have some football news to get to. Hold on.
Sounded like church.
This podcast is veering more and more towards religiosity.
Yeah, jeez.
But eternal glory in the annals of Eagles history, because we have a big headline to get to. We're not going to bury it. Legendary Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham officially retired this week after 15 years in the league. Most games played by an Eagles player ever. I think it's 206 games, something crazy like that. Yeah, 13 more games than Jason Kelce. So everybody's like, Jason Kelce, best Eagle of all time. Brandon Graham was here longer. And
and he got a second ring.
Got a second ring. He's also, in the record books for the Eagles as well. Second most forced fumbles, second only to the legendary Brian Dawkins, and third most sacks behind Reggie White, impossible to catch, and number 2, Trent Cole.
Ooh.
Really, really underrated.
Yeah.
I looked it up. I was like, wow. Yeah.
Yep. But the most important strip sack.
Yes, the most important strip sack, the one that sealed Super Bowl 52. Rich, I mean, it goes without saying, that's what Brandon Graham is remembered for by all Eagles fans. But is there anything else that comes to mind when you think about Brandon Graham and his 15? Like, that's a crazy amount of time to play for one team, 15 years. Like, what comes to mind when you think about it?
Yeah, absolute legend and a stalwart on that defensive line.
Yeah.
And you could make the case that in that Super Bowl, if he doesn't get that strip sack, I don't know, maybe the Patriots win that game.
Yeah, I mean,
they were driving down the field.
You go back and you look at some video analysis of that. It's not just the strip sack. It's also all of the quarterback pressures that he got throughout the game that forced errant throws. And I hate it because it sounds like a broken record, but it's like quarterback pressures isn't a stat that's kept. And Brandon Graham was always credited with so many disruptive plays where he's not getting home on the sack, but in stopping the run, in forcing errant throws, in getting hits on the quarterback, he was always there. And I don't think he ever really got the league-wide attention that he probably deserved.
Well, if they didn't, then they paid the price for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because he was wreaking havoc on that defensive line.
Yeah. I think he's got a shot for Hall of Fame. You don't think so?
Unfortunately, I think he's Hall of very good in terms of the NFL. Eagles Hall of Fame, absolutely. He might even get his number retired just because he was the longest tenured Eagles player of all time. I feel like that's worthy of it right there. But, I was looking at Pro Football Focus has the ranking of where they would be, and he's something like 80th in terms of defensive linemen. So probably not by their metric, but I mean, he does have
Boo, get him in there.
I mean, I agree. I think when you look at, he's top 3 in 3 of the most important stats, which is showing up and playing with the number of games, forced fumbles, and sacks in Eagles franchise history. I mean, that's got to be worth something. And then the 2 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
Pro Bowl appearances.
In Philly. Where we never had a Super Bowl before.
Right. So you have the championships, you have Pro Bowls. I think he was an All-Pro at one point. And then you just combine that with the off the field. I mean, he was a 2-time Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for the Eagles.
Yep.
And also the fact that he was labeled a bust for the first 5 years of his career.
Yeah. Wasn't he thinking of traded or something? Wasn't there a trade rumor?
He was regularly rumored to be cut or traded or just straight up benched, but he kept at it, and he turned the entire narrative of his career around. And it's that's the thing that sticks with me the most, is that every so often you get these players that are emblematic of what it means to play in Philadelphia. And I think Brandon Graham captures that. He's like, I don't care what you say about me. I'm going to play my game. I'm going to prove you wrong.
And he did.
So
Suck on that, Brady.
Yeah, take that. So, while I don't think he'll make it in the Hall of Fame, I think he's deserving. I think he was a fantastic player that got nowhere near the recognition he deserved.
Yeah. From other teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For certainly in Philadelphia, we knew.
Right.
We knew. Yeah.
Yeah.
But where the Eagles lost one legend, they are keeping another. They've re-signed offensive tackle Lane Johnson. The rework deal adds money, guarantees, and years with him now signed through 2027. Rich, what did you make of this news? The last of the core 4 linemen that played together for 11 years, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, the last holdout, Lane Johnson.
Yeah, I believe we were talking about this before the show. You were wondering how exactly this will play out. I think this is...
I've been saying for like 2 or 3 years that he's close to retirement. He's 34.
I think this is going to be similar to Jason Kelsey's exit, where...
Get one last hurrah, maybe.
Something where, like, probably this year or next year, they will...
phase him out.
They will get him his replacement.
They'll get him his Cam Jurgens.
Right. Yes. And start the succession process.
Howie Roseman will pull him into the draft room and be like, pick me a right tackle.
Yeah. I mean, probably not that direct, but
Well, that's what they did with Kelsey.
But be like, hey,
yeah,
we need to find the guy that's going to take your place.
Right. Yeah, I don't see him playing this deal out. I would be absolutely flabbergasted if he was somehow still on the team in 2027. I mean,
right. I think that's like a void year or something like that.
Yeah, he's 34. He's getting more banged up. He misses a couple games every year. No doubting his toughness and his ability. I just think at 34 with 2 rings, all pros, Pro Bowls, you want to talk about Hall of Fame? Lane Johnson could very well be a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
Easily. Yep. There's nothing else to accomplish.
Third ring.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
It's possible.
But even if he doesn't, it sounds like a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah. So I guess the point I'm making is that at any point in this deal, it's probably set up where he could be like, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
Yeah. So
But
definitely happy to see that he's probably going to finish his career as an Eagle.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's what this deal is. This deal is you're going to end with Eagles wings on your helmet and no other team.
Yep.
Yeah. But he wasn't the only signing we had recently. The free agency news continues. We added a lot of key depth pieces this past week, starting with linebacker Joshua Uche. I think that's how you say it.
I think so, yeah. I think you're right.
1 year, $2 million. He had a breakout year in New England in 2022 as a linebacker. Then he moved to defensive end, dealt with a lot of changing coaches and changing schemes as New England's been going through a lot of upheaval the past couple of years. So for us to land him, he could be a solid rotational piece. He's only 26. If he could recapture that success as a linebacker, because we kind of use a weird base formation now where guys like Nolan Smith can either blitz as a defensive end or drop into coverage, kind of like a joker position.
Yeah.
So I could see him using him in that role to try and replace Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, and oh my gosh, I can't think of his name, and Bryce Huff, who hasn't panned out.
I'm sure Vic Fangio has some ideas for him to come on board.
Yeah. Vic Fangio likes his edges / linebackers to be able to either rush or drop back, and he fits that role perfectly.
Yeah. And a cheap deal too, $2 million. That's
you can't complain about that.
This is what Howie has to do, because there was no way you were going to keep Bond and then try and keep anybody else from that defense. I mean, we went over the numbers last week. I mean, the Sweat, these guys, they got paid so much money.
Huge deals.
There was no way.
There was no way
they were going to be on the Eagles team with that kind of demands.
Yeah. So a sneaky good deal like this where it's very low risk for us, but big upside. Like he had that breakout year. I think he had like 11 sacks in New England one year. And then it was a lot of defensive changes, a position change, and he kind of fell off. But I think the logic is if you can move him back to that linebacker / edge role where he's like a Nolan Smith where he's rushing from a stand-up position or dropping back, he could see success. So it's like a sneaky good pickup where there's a lot of upside, very little downside. Similar to that, I want to jump to defensive end linebacker Azeez Ojulari. This is a really interesting pick. I actually like this one from what I was looking up about him. Averaging 5.5 sacks over 4 years. He was only a part-time starter, but he played with all those former Georgia Bulldogs. He played alongside Nakobe Dean, Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter.
How many are the Eagles up to? They got to be like 6 or 7 from that Georgia Bulldog championship run.
With Keely Ringo and this guy, it is, I believe like 6.
Yeah.
That's almost the entire starting team. You can field an entire team. I mean, look.
If they're good enough for a college national championship, that makes sense.
Basically, they're treating Georgia like a farm system.
Yeah.
And no other team has caught on. They're just like, sure, let them keep signing these guys. It is absolutely absurd. But this guy's only 25. Like I said, averaging 5.5 sacks over the last 4 years, only as a part-time starter. Then you put him with former teammates, especially the likes of Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith, who both can cause havoc on their own. I mean, am I jumping the gun when I'm saying this guy could potentially see really good production with the Eagles?
Well, I think we still got to see it on the field first and foremost, but
the pieces are there, right?
In terms of what Howie can reasonably manage this this offseason after a Super Bowl win, I think these are good moves that he's making.
I think as replacements for Josh Sweat and AJ,
he has
Brandon
to do it
Graham,
cheap.
Yeah,
there's no way around it. You're not gonna come off and sign the big name free agent. It's just not in the cards. The money has already been spent.
Yeah, and I think that as a replacement, these two guys, Uche and Ojulari, also coupled with Bryce Huff, we don't know if he can actually work in our system. But between these three guys, one of them has to be a replacement, right? Somewhat of an adequate replacement. So. Yeah.
If not, then we're going back in the draft with one of those 20 picks in the next 2. Was it 20 picks in the next 2 years?
20 picks in the next 2 years.
Well, then,
I think we have 5 in the top 100 next year.
Well, then,
which is crazy.
There you go. If it doesn't work out, you're using one of those picks for that.
Yeah. But just another 2 quick signings here. Running back AJ Dillon on a 1-year deal. I like that pickup.
Yeah.
Big bruiser of a back, kind of take
another way to steal touchdowns from Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, right. Getting that short yardage situation. You don't want to bang up Hurts. You don't want to bang up Barkley. Send the bruiser in.
Yeah. Do not place anytime touchdown bets on Saquon Barkley. He is going to get stopped within the 5, and he's going to lose it.
Saquon Barkley is going to rush for something stupid like 2,500 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's exactly what his stat line's going to be.
He can only score from more than 20 yards out. He's not allowed to score in the red zone. In the red zone, it's Hurts or it's A.J. Brown or Dallas Goedert. Saquon Barkley, not allowed.
Or A.J. Dillon now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I like that move. Give him a chance to compete in training camp and lock down that number 2 spot behind Barkley. And then finally, cornerback Adoree Jackson, a 1-year deal, almost 30 years old, but has a lot of starting experience in the league. So some solid depth behind younger starters. I would have liked a better solution opposite Quinyon Mitchell. And I don't think they're going to look to him as the starter opposite him, but more as a depth piece.
Yeah.
But my concern
I think they're hoping Ringo steps up.
I'm hoping that it's Ringo as well, because I don't want to move Cooper DeJean.
No.
Like he turned that defense around by making that nickel position so pivotal, and to move him and like ruin that chemistry. But it still, in my mind, didn't address the biggest hole in that secondary, which is the safety position.
Well, maybe that's coming up in the draft.
That's what the draft is for, I guess. But that wraps it up for the Eagles' free agency news. The biggest topic in free agency, though, was actually coming out of Cincinnati. The Bengals finally ending their wide receiver drama by signing both of their star wide receivers, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, to absolutely monstrous deals.
I declare bankruptcy!
That is exactly what the Bengals organization is going to say for the next 4 years whenever they have free agency, whenever they have free agents demanding a contract.
Cincinnati fans are going to be in a bad way because for the next 4 years, as you said, the story is going to be the same. It's like, well, we can't sign anybody, but at least you have Chase and Higgins because here are the deals.
I love the NFL memes. Did you see that going around? That was like, the Bengals have signed big name wide receiver, big name quarterback. Coming up this season, they're going to lose games 79-77.
Yeah.
It's going to be like basketball scores.
No defense, no offensive line. It's going to be a train wreck.
Just chuck it downfield.
Just launch it. That's your only chance. Well, you got to make something out of this. You got to use this money somehow. Jamar Chase, 4 years, $161 million, including $112 million guaranteed.
Woo!
I declare bankruptcy!
Yep. If you're doing the math, that's $40.25 million per year, the most by a non-quarterback player, which the record for that has been broken 3 times this offseason. So there's been a run on non-quarterback players this season.
This is why we keep saying, like, you gotta sign. If you know a player's good, you gotta sign them as soon as you can. Because if you don't, you get stuck with these bigger contracts.
Yep. Well, here's the other one. T. Higgins, 4 years, $115 million. And to put it in perspective, because there's a handful of teams that have that unique combination where you basically have 2 starters. Yeah. So they were doing some comparisons, and one of the comparisons was the Eagles, because the Eagles arguably have a 1A and a 1B in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
Yep.
So here's how the numbers break down. The Bengals wide receiver duo is $69 million per year. The Eagles duo, who I would argue are equivalent to the Bengals duo, is $57 million a year. So you're looking at a savings of $12 million. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith look like bargain bin cast-offs compared to these contracts. A.J. Brown was $97 million compared to $161. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Sign them early.
Yeah. You essentially saved $70 million.
Yeah. That's $70 million you could spend on how many other players?
And it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon, because it just seems like every year it's just whoever is the next elite talent just looks at the previous contract and says, all right, make mine bigger.
Yeah. And you can tell that's what happened because Myles Garrett got $40 million a year.
Yeah.
And
that was at the beginning of this offseason.
And I think Jamar Chase was like, I need a number that's at least bigger than his. And that's why his is 40.25 million. Like, it's comical almost, right?
You take that number, make it higher.
Right. It's just $250,000 higher, but that's just to be the highest non-paid or non-quarterback paid player. Like,
yeah, that's how it works.
But I don't know, ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think it's a little ridiculous. I think the salary cap is becoming somewhat of a problem in the NFL. It's getting harder and harder to manage it with the ballooning contracts, and I know they're going to be renegotiating the collective bargaining agreement in
2030, I think.
It's 2030. I think a lot of teams are hoping that the cap absolutely balloons after that renegotiation, because you're getting to the point quarterbacks are pulling in $300 million plus. Wide receivers now easily over $100 million.
Yeah, you're paying one person $40, $50, $60 million a year. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What is it, Dak? Dak is like 60-some million this year. His cap
it was originally 90.
Ugh.
It was $89 million his cap hit. I think they restructured it down to 60, but that is nauseating.
I want me some glory hole.
Well,
that's an expensive glory hole.
He's giving glory hole to Dak.
I want me some glory hole.
He wants to taste Dak's ranch.
I want me some glory hole.
And on that note, let's talk golf.
Oh, now you're gonna pitch it back over to me for golf. Oh, what a transition!
How do you transition from glory holes to golf?
Thank you for that, Mike.
Is that what they call hole in one?
That's a hole.
They should call it the glory hole. Could you imagine on CBS, the Masters on CBS, and that's a glory hole?
I want me some glory hole.
Talk about a hole in one.
That's a glory hole right there.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore, remember? Who does the Subway commercial?
Which, apropos, they had the trailer for Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah, they're already doing the sequel.
Nothing is sacred and nothing makes sense.
Nope. There you go.
Anyway,
golf.
On to golf.
Mike's favorite topic.
I grin and bear it for you, buddy.
Thank you. No, I do love golf. This is my little interest, if you will, for the sports sampler. I just thought it was interesting, these two stories. First off, we had the Players' Championship over the weekend, which is It's the biggest deal in the golf world that isn't a major tournament event.
Yeah, you said before the show it's like an unofficial fifth major.
Yeah, if the PGA was ever going to expand to a fifth major, it would be the Players Championship at Sawgrass. It's an iconic course. It's got so many sponsors behind it. It's got celebrities. It's got almost the full roster of golfers that show up to this one. So it's got the clout. It probably would be a very suitable fifth major.
They should do it.
I mean, you know.
I know they're what do you call them? They're old school. They're golf. They don't like to
There's
change.
a lot of traditionalists.
Yeah.
So, but nevertheless, that tells you how important this championship is. And there was two interesting things that happened during the course of this weekend. There was a couple of weather delays, and then it ended on Sunday where there was a tie, and the golf tournaments really try and finish on Sunday.
Right.
They really don't want to push things into Monday because obviously everybody's going back to work on Monday.
You can't watch on Monday.
Yeah, you can't watch it on Monday.
Golf is like an all-day thing. You can't just,
Yeah.
It doesn't take like hours and hours to watch a golf tournament.
I mean, if you're going to start a full 18-hole coverage, it takes probably 4 to 5 hours for 18 holes.
Okay.
But unfortunately, they just couldn't help it. There was just too many weather delays, and then it ended on a tie, so they had to go into playoff. So it had to go into Monday, March 17th, which was St. Patrick's Day.
Of course.
And the guy that wins the Players Championship, the biggest non-major tournament of the year, is Ireland's own Rory McIlroy, pulling it out in a overtime playoff situation on St. Patrick's Day.
Luck of the Irish.
I mean, that's like you couldn't write it any better. That's like a storybook ending.
Yeah, it was scripted. The NFL is scripted. The PGA is scripted. It's all fake.
Yep. But the real question is, going into this now, Rory seems primed because next month is the Masters, and I'm going to go crazy about the Masters.
Oh yeah,
I love Augusta. It's one of my top sporting events of the year.
Is this one of those events that kind of predicts the success, or because I know that some in some sporting events there's always like a precursor event that you look to how teams or players might perform in a later event.
This is definitely a good sign for Rory McIlroy. This definitely signals he's playing some good golf. Right, it's like when you're getting hot at the right time before the playoffs.
Right.
That's what this seems like to me with Rory McIlroy. He seems more focused, more calm. I think that was something else too. Going into his play on Sunday, and then what ended up being on Monday, he just kind of took everything in stride. He didn't let anything really bother him.
I feel like that's a huge component to doing well in golf.
Yes.
It's just staying calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah, because it's so easy, especially on Sunday when you get to these major tournaments. It is so easy to have an errant shot, and then everything just spirals out of control. I mean, look, Jordan Spieth, that's the greatest example, and I watched that happen in real time. You just felt so bad for him. He just looked like a kid that was lost in the woods. Like, he had back-to-back shots in the water hazard, and you're just like, what do you do at that point?
Yeah, I mean, you just pack it up. Because that's 4 strokes right there. Yeah,
yeah. It's you can definitely spiral out of control so easily. Even if you've done well Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, just everything could fall apart. But Rory was very calm, cool, and collected on this major. That's not a major, unfortunately.
But still a big win, right?
Yes, big win. And actually, in terms of money made, this is the most profitable tournament to win. So
really,
his wallet's going to be very happy.
This is the one you want to win.
I mean, in terms
the
of
other ones have prestige, sure, but in terms of
in terms of
payday, because now he can take a break at the Masters. He's already made his money for the year.
I declare bankruptcy!
Maybe he'll share some with Cincinnati.
Yeah, Rory needs to help out the Bengals and give them some salary cap money. So, luck of the Irish, or is this a sign of Rory McIlroy winning Augusta? Well, we'll see next month. And that is, by the way, the one that he needs to win to be the Grand Slam.
Ooh,
Yeah.
So
He's got some motivation.
A little bit of added pressure, but he's offsetting that with a really strong performance here just a few weeks before.
Yep. So that's the high I want to mention in the golf world. Unfortunately, there is some bad news. A dark cloud did come over for those that want to watch the Masters. Unfortunately, if you're a Tiger fan, there is bad news that came out last week, and that is Tiger Woods unfortunately had surgery, and it turned out he has a Achilles tear, which at 49 years old, I mean, he's going to turn 50 in December. First off, this officially means he's out of the Masters. He can't. There's no way you're making it back to Augusta.
Oh, yeah.
But in terms of his actual future career, this might be it, folks. I mean, that's rough trying to come back on that when you're pushing 50.
The quote from the doctor is, "The surgery went smoothly, and we expect a full recovery." But full recovery is one thing.
I'm 50. 50 years old.
But exactly, what is full recovery when you're 50 and a top-tier athlete? I mean...
I like to kick, stretch, and kick. I'm 50. 50 years old.
Honestly, with a surgically repaired Achilles, you probably shouldn't be kicking and stretching and all that.
Yeah. That's not good. Only Sally O'Malley can do that.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, a full recovery, sure, for a person, but full recovery enough to compete at a high level in a meaningful way at 50, that's kind of a question mark, right? Now,
yeah.
Help me understand the injury in terms of golf, because if we had said football player and Achilles, I'd be like, okay, he's like Aaron Rodgers, he's done. Like, he's just not going to be able to do much. But
you're wrong about that. He's gonna be a Vikings legend soon.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe next week.
Yeah.
But in terms of golf, is the Achilles as important as something like a back or a shoulder?
It's very important. You got a twist on the balls
still
of your
still got a twist on it. Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah, still very important. I think the time has come. I think it's the clock is finally going to start. The clock has already beaten him, for lack of a better word. I mean, he had that one high point in 2019 where he won the Masters, but I was reviewing that Masters too, and it really does kind of seem like a fluke that he won it that year. He really has not put together a consistent consistent play at a major event in the last 7 or 8 years, other than the Masters in 2019.
Yeah, I mean, I use the podcast actually as a metric because I never once paid attention to golf before we talked about it on the podcast. But for the entirety of our run, the question's always been, where's Tiger? And you're always like, oh, his odds are 600,000 to 1. Like, he's never...
It did hit once, though.
There is still that one shot. But at least in our history of doing the show, he's never meaningfully competed and succeeded other than that one time.
Yeah.
It's always been, the stories around Tiger Woods has been off the field issues. He's old. He's injured. He's out of the tournament. And it's just been a repeat of those headlines, right, on a constant circuit. So from my perspective, as somebody who doesn't follow it other than what's in the headlines, which I think is the vast majority of people, who are not directly invested in the sport, to the common observer, it seems like Tiger Woods hasn't been relevant for almost 15 years. True or false?
15 is a little too long. 10. I'll go 10.
10's a long time, though.
Yeah, it is. Especially considering Tiger won so much in the 2000s.
So much so quickly.
Yeah.
Right? And then just... time hits everybody differently, but when it hits you, it hits hard.
Yeah. And it really hit Tiger. And unfortunately, I don't think he'll ever get to that plateau again to compete for another major. And unfortunately, that means I don't think he catches Nicklaus.
No.
Who's only, I think, 4 major. I think he has 14 and Nicklaus had 18.
I don't think
it's in the cards.
Because he'll be 50 when he fully recovers. And then after you fully recover, I imagine it's still a little tenuous to really compete at a high level on something like that. You might not twist or torque as much because you're afraid of re-injuring. And then he has to find the time and the ability to win 4 more. It's not going to happen.
No, I don't think so.
His next step, we'll report next year, is that he's signing with the Live Tour.
Or no, it'll be
Right?
a whole new tour because the Live Tour is going to be folded back into PGA.
Is it
at some
fully
point.
folded in by
Not
that point?
yet,
Not
but it's supposed to be.
He'll
this
play for
upcoming year.
some other Saudi donor.
Yeah, some other ridiculous league somebody will come up with. Only play 18 holes. There you go, instead of 54.
There you go. Fast golf.
Fast golf.
That's what
Speed
I want to
golf.
see. Speed golf. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll do.
You
got
got to race to the ball.
Yeah, they'll do something like that. All right, so there you go. Quick little golf talk, and to get you in the mindset, because next month it is, Augusta time. Augusta in April.
It's time.
Yeah, so we'll get to that. And also, we'll cover a little bit of March Madness at some point when we see what the big upsets will be and stuff like that. The bracket just came out, so that's why we can't really.
Okay, it just started.
Yeah, well, it didn't even start. The bracket literally just came out. So
Do they know March is half over?
all right.
Guys.
Well, all right, on that note, we got to wrap up the Sports Sampler, but we're going to come back after the break with the entertainment entree and the non-fortune cookie odd news when we return. This is the Crispy Noodle Podcast. We'll be right back.
Ready for the weekend? Happy Friday. Hi, my name's Marie, and I'm an artist who's been making Happy Friday doodles every week for over 7 years. And now you can own my art collection in this Volume 1 and Volume 2 art series. These doodles span across multiple themes, yearly festivities, various countries, languages, and more. Both coffee table books have something for everyone and are the perfect conversation starter or gift for a friend. Really, anyone who enjoys a good weekend. Available on Amazon, Ingram, BookBaby, Barnes & Noble, and more. Visit happyfridaydoodles.com/books and get your copies today. Let's celebrate the best day of the week. Happy Friday.
Just a moment, you just assured me that I could speak.
Sit down inside the car. We're not assuring anything. We're under arrest.
Look, I'm under what?
Come on.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis! This is the bloke who got me on the penis before.
Get some cups.
Why did you do this to me?
Hop in the car. Get some cups.
For what reason? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir. Oh, yes. I see that you know your judo well. Good one. And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? Now, get your hands off there.
No, we've only got one cup.
Ta-ta and farewell.
That's all right. Get him in the car.
One cup, look. They even broke.
Oh, yeah, we're back here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast. All right, Mikey, you getting cleaned up over there?
I'm good. I had to clean my glasses for those of you not on the video podcast, which you
Yeah.
should be on YouTube.
I mean, unless you're driving.
Even if you're driving, no, don't do that.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Do you remember that odd news story that we had? I think it was one of the shows that Nena was on, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Where
guy-
the guy was watching The Office in the car.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not so bad. And you guys were like, yes, it absolutely
please
is.
don't do that. Yeah, he was.
I still maintain that if it's background noise, you're not actively watching. Like our podcast is background noise, but you're not actively watching. See? It's okay.
But he had the monitor playing like in his front console.
He had it play. He had the monitor playing.
I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the story. He had it playing like.
Okay, I
he
guess
had
you
the
can't
screen.
do that. How big was the screen?
I don't know, like probably a little like 9-inch screen or something.
9 inches is okay.
I don't know. It was
No,
just
I'm
weird.
kidding. Don't watch.
I think
TV
he had. I think it was like one of those old DVD. Now it's old, but remember it was like a DVD.
the little pop up.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, and he had it situated.
Don't do that. Don't watch
don't
TV
do that.
and drive.
No,
I can barely listen to things and drive because I get so invested. I'm like so focused in sometimes.
Yeah, so please don't do that.
No,
Focus
don't
on
do
the
that.
road.
Yes.
That's your PSA from the Crispy Noodle podcast.
Keep your glasses cleaned and your eyes on the road. I'm like admonishing people with my chapstick.
Oh yeah, now take that.
I'm like,
Yeah, keep those lips clean.
and that too. Keep your glasses clean, your lips clean, and your eyes on the road.
Fantastic.
I just realized what I was doing. I was like,
Mikey's actually doing he's doing full blown grooming over here. Yeah.
listen, man, the podcast is, people don't think about it, but it's an endurance sport.
Well, speaking of endurance, then we need to get to the next part of the show. It is time for the entertainment entree.
And now, the latest in movies.
The Simpson guy writes to movies. Dear Die Hard, you rock. Especially when that guy was on the roof.
Music.
I know what that is. That's music.
Video games.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Celebrities.
You really know Warren Beatty? Yes, I do. I took a leak next to him once at the Golden Globes.
And more.
You were the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.
This is the entertainment entree.
All right, it is time for the entertainment entree, and we're going to kick it off with the segment where Mike is going to let you know what you should keep an eye out for with new movie, TV, and video game properties. Folks, it is time for Mike's This Week in Entertainment. All right, Mikey, what do you got for the people?
All right, well, first up, in movies, Alto Nights is a new biopic crime drama hitting theaters this week, and it should be of particular interest to you, Rich, since it stars Robert De Niro in a dual role. Yes, playing
one De Niro, two De Niros. Oh, my medication.
Is that your final answer?
Radical.
Simpsons.
Yeah,
two roles playing opposing mob bosses. Here's the synopsis. The film follows two of New York's most notorious organized crime bosses, Frank Costello, played by Robert De Niro, and Vito Genovese, also played by De Niro, as they vie for control of the city's streets.
Produced by Robert De Niro.
Right.
Directed by Robert De Niro.
Written by
Robert De Niro.
Once the best of friends, petty jealousies and a series of betrayals place them on a deadly collision course that will reshape the mafia and America forever. There's no reviews as of this recording, but it looks pretty good. Robert De Niro, of course, a classic.
And Robert De Niro, also
a classic. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what are they talking? I'm like, what are they talking about? Yeah, two roles for him.
Yeah.
So that's in theaters. In television, The Residence is a new mystery dramedy coming to Netflix. This whodunit is set in the White House after the White House chief usher is murdered. The chief usher is the head of household staff and operations. And of course, this occurs during a state dinner. The White House brings a special consultant to work with FBI special agents as interpersonal conflicts between the household staff and the administration begins to unfold. So, seems like a little fun mystery dramedy there. And finally, in video games, Assassin's Creed Shadows comes to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. It's the latest in the long-running series about the fight between the Assassins and the Templars, this time set in open-world Japan, as players split time between two protagonists, a shifty female ninja and an African samurai based on a real-life historical figure. The game features the more action RPG slant of the modern games, but also promises more stealth action, similar to the older games in the series. The game has a pretty respectable 8 out of 10 on Metacritic, so fans should have a pretty good time with it. If you're looking for something a bit more relaxing, check out Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 Complete Edition, finally making its way to PlayStation consoles and Xbox consoles. The game combines Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 and both its water park and zoo expansions into one package. I love.
Yeah, you're a big Roller Coaster Tycoon
I love
fan.
park builder games, so I might check that out. That's what we're looking forward to this week in entertainment.
All right, Mikey, thank you for that segment this week in entertainment. All right, just for a little bit, indulge me again, Mikey, but I wanna talk a little bit of wrestling news.
My God, what the hell's going on tonight?
Yeah, what is going on?
What is indeed going on?
A little semi-update here that I want to mention, and that is the fact that John Cena showed up after his sudden heel turn. It took him, I think he had a 2-week break. He showed up at the special Raw Live in Belgium.
Okay.
And I got to say, folks, if you want to know just how captivating an audience can get towards a professional wrestling hype, it wasn't even a match. It was just hyping up the match that will be at WrestleMania this year. Go do yourselves a favor. Go to the WWE YouTube channel and check out the full clip of John Cena making his public return to the WWE crowd after his heel turn in which he attacked Cody Rhodes and joined The Rock. It is insane. There are moments, the whole clip is like 21 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And that is because like there are portions where there's 3 to 4 minutes of the crowd doing like choreographed chants all together at Cena. It is amazing. This is exactly what you want as a professional wrestling company.
Yeah.
It matters that you got the crowd involved. Whether or not they cheer or boo for you, that's all up to wrestling and the actual storyline itself and your character and all that stuff. But the fact that they had the crowd just screaming their hearts out and just going crazy at Cena for what he did, WWE is on a whole nother plane. They have done their work. They have done their due diligence. And this storyline with John Cena turning heel is working fantastically. You got to check it out. I would play it, but it's 21 minutes, and we can't have the whole clip here on the Crispy Noodle podcast.
You did play a bit before the show for us to listen to, and I mean he's not exaggerating. The entire crowd is completely hook, line, and sinker. They are entirely enthralled with this, and to your point, wrestling is entertainment. It's not just sport. It's entertainment. It's a story. It's, an experience. And the fact they got that much buy-in is essential. You want your stories to elicit a reaction? Well, there you go. There's your reaction.
They got one.
And, from my perspective, a lot of the recent wrestling news last year was all around controversy and, how they were kind of having all these issues behind the scenes, and this is kind of showing that they were able to successfully pivot from that point to, where they are now with just having these fans just absolutely eat it up.
Yeah.
Right?
To me, this is the signal that WWE is back on top as the number one national wrestling promotion, and nobody else is coming close. Yeah. I'm sorry, AEW, I was rooting for them for a little bit, but they have lost so much ground the last couple of years, especially losing guys like CM Punk.
Yeah.
They can't compete. They have lost stars. They have lost the pipelines to get future stars. I don't know.
It's just a matter of time.
I hate to say it. I don't know how AEW is really going to combat this.
They need to find a very clear niche market within wrestling. I don't think it's possible for them to compete on a national scale. Just going based on what you said, they're not going to be able to go toe-to-toe with WWE.
No.
So they have to find some kind of other little, corner of the market that they can kind of like carve out, like a specialty type of wrestling. I'm not saying do like the death match. Blood ring wrestling in Delaware or whatever it's called.
But they're not going to do
combat wrestling,
combat zone wrestling. No,
yeah, but like some other special, unique angle to separate it from like regular wrestling. Quote unquote regular wrestling.
Yeah,
I mean that might be an angle, right?
Probably their best chance is to do more ridiculous wrestling because, they already have some interesting characters. Like I mentioned Toni Storm, the one that thinks she's a 30s actress.
Listen, ham it up. You mentioned two of them. You mentioned the Storm person, who's a 1930s actress. For some reason wrestling. You also mentioned somebody who got, like, possessed by, like, what, like demons or something?
Yeah,
Like, ham it up. Go the full Spirit Halloween route and just have, like... absolutely bonkers characters. If WWE is going to lean into, just like all American good guys and bad guys, you go with the mysticism. Bring back the Stings and the Undertakers and the guys, the Rey Mysterios, who are like larger than life caricatures, slightly mysterious, slightly fantastical. Make it Mortal Kombat for all I care. Like, you got to do something unique.
They're probably going to have to, they have to investigate this.
Would you watch a Mortal Kombat wrestling? Like a full-on fantasy mysticism? Like, obviously, they're not going to shoot real fireballs, but, like, they all have kind of like a weird, gimmicky backstory
Maybe.
kind of thing.
Could be interesting.
I'd dig it. I'd watch it. It's more theater than sport
at that point. It would be, yeah.
Yeah. But that's where you got to find a niche market. You're not going to be able to compete as a regular wrestling troupe.
Yeah, and I think that's their fate now.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because I think 3 or 4 years ago, they could have made a very devastating strike against WWE. They were on a great turn 3 or 4 years ago when they stole back CM Punk.
Yeah.
And I think Cody Rhodes was still with them too 4 years ago too. They had
a chance.
That's got to be what, to me, if I was a part of AEW, that would be the thing that's heartbreaking, is that you're seeing guys that used to be in your organization and they're doing better at WWE. Like, I'm sorry, I know some people might see WWE as the evil empire, but they're showing the proof in the pudding. You come with us, we are going to make you a global superstar.
Yeah.
AEW, you're just going to be a star down in Florida.
It's hard for people getting into an industry or a sport to say no to the big, powerful, all-encompassing entity, right? That's why we have those things.
Yeah. So definitely check out the John Cena, his return to the WWE crowd in Belgium. It was ridiculous. Watch the whole 20 minutes. It's crazy. So I just want to bring that up. All right, now let's get to the main topic. Here in the entertainment entree, Mike was trying to find some animation and found something very startling. What is it, Mike?
Yeah, well, speaking of huge, all-encompassing entities, how about Warner Brothers deciding this week to pull all of the classic Looney Tunes animated shorts from the Max streaming service? That's not some of them, that's all of them. The removal impacts 40 years worth of animated shorts from the 1930s through the late 1960s. This is, I think, devastating for animation history. Now, I've never been a huge fan of Looney Tunes, but I understand the significance of Looney Tunes.
Does that include Space Jam? No!
Rich, I could not tell you a single line or scene from that movie. I think I watched it exactly once as a child and never thought of it again until we had the story where LeBron was doing a sequel. And then I was like, oh, yeah, Space Jam was a thing. And then I forgot about it after that point as well. Yeah. But that notwithstanding, I understand the history and the significance of Looney Tunes and the characters it's created and the mark that it left on animation history. And it's just so bizarre and upsetting to me that these monolithic companies can be like, yeah, we're just going to erase this creative history.
Is there any reason why yet? Anything?
So
is there any speculation?
There
rumor?
there is some speculation. So this is coming at a time where Looney Tunes and Warner Brothers are kind of having an awkward moment. Even though Warner Brothers owns them, they don't really know what to do with them. Looney Tunes got their first fully animated feature theatrical release this past week/month, the day the Earth blew up. So it's odd that this is coming at the same time as that. It's also odd given WB's strange history with animated shows in general. They had been pulling tons of Cartoon Network stuff, and they had also canceled the completed James Gunn live-action film Coyote vs. Acme and used it as a tax write-off in 2023. So WB is just not happy with their animated properties in general. Seems like they're just waging war on the animated front. And the reason for this is that WB, this is the statement from them, that they are trying to refocus on adult and family content as opposed to kids programming. And that is such a befuddling comment.
Yeah.
Is not Looney Tunes family content? What is family content?
And why would it not be family content? Did we miss something? Did we miss a meaning?
I don't know. I don't know. That is their official position, that this is all in terms of a restructuring and to refocus on adult and family content as opposed to kids programming, and that Looney Tunes just doesn't perform well. That is such a bizarre thing for me, because could you imagine Disney going, well, the old Mickey cartoons, they don't really perform well. We're just gonna remove Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
Like, is that not the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? Could you imagine Fox being like, yeah, old Simpsons, they're not as fun as the new ones. The animation is not as good. We're just gonna erase the first 10 seasons.
You mean the best ones?
Like, does that not sound bizarre to you?
Yeah, this whole thing's weird. I don't understand where this is coming from.
So some people online...
Also, does it cost money to keep...
Well, here we go.
Keep them on streaming?
This is the point that people are making online, is that it's not about refocusing the content. It's about trying to find profitability in streaming. So streaming services are notoriously difficult to be profitable. Really, it's Netflix and Disney who are profitable, right? Every other streaming service is kind of like a loss leader, where they're taking losses, but the goal is continued regular revenue. Even if you're not profitable, you know you're getting the same revenue every single year because it's a subscription.
Right.
It's kind of how game manufacturers handle consoles. You lose money on the console, but you make it up in the software, and eventually you find that nice little happy profitability and that equilibrium, right? So they're saying that they're getting rid of these animated shows because it just straight up is cheaper, and they're trying to chase that profitability. And that if they can save storage, if they can not pay out royalties or whatever it is, use it as tax write-off, whatever strategy it is to find profitability, that's what matters. They're chasing the ability to say, well, Max was profitable. But I think this is, I mean, what do you think? I think it's a huge double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the other streamers, and you look at Netflix and Disney specifically, the only other two that are profitable, what do they have going for them? You can come to Netflix and watch freaking literally anything. You can come to Disney and
Wrestling.
You can come to Disney and watch 100 years of content. We don't care if it costs us money. We're going to keep all those stupid black and white 10-minute Mickey Mouse cartoons because it's part of the history and the legacy, right? I think that nostalgia plays a big part in the reason why people keep streaming services around. That's why I went and I subbed to Peacock so I could freaking watch The Office and Parks and Rec, even though, you know,
NBC knows they got you.
NBC knows that they got me. It's probably why you have a few streaming services, because you know that there's a show or a movie that you don't.
It's Max, because I want my Succession. I want that on demand.
You don't want to give it up. What if Max says, Succession, that was last year's drama. We're gonna get rid of that. We're only gonna focus on The Last of Us and House of the Dragon.
Well, I mean, I do like Last of Us, so I'd probably keep it for that. But I would still be angry.
But like, the point still stands. I feel like everybody out there has kept a streaming service around longer than they probably should have because of that connection to that legacy content. So I feel like Max is shooting themselves in the foot and chasing.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
They're chasing short-term profit. Sure, it's a tax write-off for 2025. What are you going to do in 2026? What?
Write off another property?
What are you going to cut then?
Yeah, what is it? Every year they're going to cut something?
And then what? You're left with just crap that you made in 2023?
The cheapest crap.
The cheapest crap, right. It's going to be, it's, I don't know if I can say the word in shitification.
Sure.
Okay. The FCC not allowed, or what is it? The FAA or no, the FCC.
FCC.
Not allowed word is embedded in a larger word.
Yeah,
but like
we're on our own wavelength here as a podcast.
Good. Screw you, FCC. No, but it's the enshittification of every service. The longer it stays around, the worse it gets. And Max is in that situation right now. And if it wasn't for those few HBO properties that keep people coming back, what does Warner Brothers bring to the table? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's very upsetting to, and this is also why I think there is still a case for physical media. As much as a lot of people have been getting rid of their DVDs and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would dump everything yet.
No, definitely don't dump stuff. Like, I don't know if I'd go out of my way to buy a bunch of DVDs right now, but don't get rid of.
Right.
Perfect example. Disney, I mentioned The Simpsons, they pulled Stark Raving Dad, one of the best episodes of all time, with the pink shirt, the Michael Jackson appearance. They pulled that episode for a few different reasons. I have the DVD version. That's like one of the few places you can watch that episode. So now people who have old DVD seasons of Looney Tunes, like that might be the only place you will ever be able to find them if we continue down this path.
It could be worth money.
It could be worth money. I don't know. It's just crazy that Max is doing this. I think they're shooting themselves in the foot to chase short-term profits instead of long-term growth and subscriber, growth. So, I don't know.
Well, speaking of cutting things off, we have to cut that off there because we have to get to our third and final portion of the show. It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
We've been talking about cool and its ramifications and how it applies to the hip scene. But maybe you could give us some examples now of the opposite of cool, uncool. Just exactly what is uncool?
My nipples look like milk duds.
Holy shnikes.
It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
It's not of this world. I don't know exactly what it is or what it's doing, but this is not human intelligence, okay? It's not human intelligence we're facing!
How you doing? Me? I'm doing great.
Manda basata. I don't make this stuff up.
I'll take a pound of nuts.
That's a lot of nuts! That'll be $4, baby! You want fries with that?
I've seen the celery dance across the baseball fields.
You had me at Meat Tornado.
No, go past this. Past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Okay. What does that mean?
And now it's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
So sit back, get everything you need to get from the kitchen. Be sure and empty the bladders. Go to the bathroom because you're in for a hell of a ride.
Odd news.
That's right, everyone. It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news here in the segment. Rich researches the news, he reads the news, and I react to the news. He finds a weird and wacky story and keeps it hidden from me, which ensures that all of my reactions are my genuine gut reactions to hearing the story for the very first time. I don't know what's about to happen. You guys don't know what's about to happen. And even Rich doesn't know what's about to happen because these stories always take us down wacky and wild paths. And where are we heading to?
Now, who is this guy in Florida?
It's Florida, and they're crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Should have guessed.
Another Florida story here for you.
All right. So what's going on in the Dong of America?
This... Oh, my God. I didn't even realize it. It's another Clearwater story. What is happening?
It's the Philly runoff, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
What is happening? Are we inadvertently causing Florida odd news stories?
I'm just saying there seems to be a pipeline.
Yeah.
A through line from Philadelphia to Florida. I think there's more in common than there is different between these two places.
Especially with the Phillies doing spring training down there, and a lot of people love to go see the Phillies.
Exactly.
This is weird. I don't like this.
This is dangerous stuff, man.
I feel like it's Florida Man, but it might actually be Philadelphia Man, and we don't know it.
Florida Man. Florida.
Can you talk? You good over there?
I'm trying to do like Philadelphia, Florida Man. It's Philadelphia, Florida Man.
Yeah. Floradelphia.
See, that's better. Damn, I should have gone with that. It's a Floradelphia Man. All right, so what's the Floradelphia Man doing?
So we're going to talk about 34-year-old Aaron Jablonski. That's a name.
It almost sounds like Jabrowski or something.
Yeah. He went to the Overtime Sports Bar Saturday night at 2:30 a.m.
Okay. Little late night shenanigans.
Yep. And he showed up already drunk.
Of course.
So
you don't show up to a bar at 2:30 in the morning stone cold sober.
Woo! Already.
I feel like that's not what's happening.
Yeah, let's go. And that's when the man decided he was going to stroll into this place, and he said that he wanted to sing some karaoke. Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did this place offer karaoke?
Yes, that night they did. Yes, there was.
Okay.
They were featuring karaoke. Yes.
Okay. Because I thought the next sentence was going to be they did not offer karaoke.
Well, unfortunately, though, at that point at 2:30 a.m., the karaoke DJ said that they had enough people signed up until they closed at 3 a.m. So I guess they had some people that are already signed up, and that was going to take them to 3 a.m.
There's only a half hour left. I mean, what were you hoping to accomplish?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Well, this guy wanted to sing, unfortunately. How dare you?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
You should have planned a little better.
Well, apparently he did not, because he requested over and over again that he get a shot at singing some karaoke. The DJ denied him. At that point, he pulled out a Glock.
Gonna fucking kill you, motherfucker, old style.
Wow.
Naturally.
Just...
Because if there's one thing that deserves to have a gun drawn, it would be...
Gonna fucking kill you, motherfucker, old style.
It would be a karaoke dispute.
Oh, now you fucked up. You have fucked up now.
0 to 100.
Janie's got a gun.
This is Aaron Jablonski.
Aaron Jablonski's got a gun. Doesn't quite have the same...
Yeah, there's a lot of syllables in that.
Yeah,
you know?
too many. So, gun comes out, and did that get him on the list?
No, it did not.
See? Damn.
Yep.
He tried so hard.
He got so mad that he did fire off a round into the ceiling.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. At that point, that's when everybody left the Overtime Sports Bar. I guess he could have just at that point he could grab a microphone because everybody left.
Everybody's running. He just grabs the mic. And what does he sing?
Yeah,
that's
I know.
That's the real question. What did he want to sing?
Yes. They should have that in the police report. I want to know what.
We've had so many police reports that are weirdly specific.
Yeah.
And then we have just as many that have no information. Like, yeah, he was a dude. He had a gun. I want to know what song he wanted to sing.
Yeah.
Why he wanted to sing it. Like, what's his motivation?
Yes.
Like, I need the details.
What would have been the song that he wanted to sing to close out the overtime? The legendary Overtime Sports Bar in Clearwater, Florida.
Legendary.
On a Saturday
apparently.
night. What was he going to close out with?
I don't know.
Unfortunately, we will never know. Cops were able to show up on the scene very quickly. They were able to get him to surrender the handgun.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, luckily nothing else happened. They arrested him. It was a real Glock 9mm pistol. This was not like an imitation gun or a BB gun.
Around.
No, this was a real Glock 9mm. And unfortunately, it turns out he has prior arrests, including a former battery on a law enforcement officer.
Oh, now you fucked up. You have fucked up now.
Not good.
Yeah, so his charges get bumped up to aggravated assault and felon in possession of a firearm.
Ooh.
Yeah, battery on a law enforcement officer is a felony,
Yeah.
So he is locked up in lieu of a $40,000 bond.
Oof.
So I guess he's going to have to sing in jail. There's nowhere else for him to go now.
Yeah, right. Puts out his little tin cup and starts singing.
Yeah, please help. Yeah, I'll sing for you.
So all this over a shot at karaoke.
Yep, he just wanted to sing something so bad.
Oh my gosh!
And I pull out my gun. Was he gonna sing R. Kelly or something? Something from South Park. I pull out my gun.
Not familiar with the reference, unfortunately.
Oh, it's South Park. Yeah,
yeah. I always wanted to watch South Park. Never got into it.
So,
though.
yeah, R. Kelly. Remember, he had like "I'm Trapped in the Closet." He had like
Yeah.
those songs. "I'm trapped in the closet."
Yeah.
South Park had a bit where like every time he got angry, he would sing like, "I pull out my gun." That's exactly what this dude did.
That's probably what he was gonna sing.
Yeah,
was that bit from South Park?
Yeah, just over and over again.
Just over and over again.
I pull out my gun.
It's just these stories always like amaze me because people think that the appearance of a gun is going to somehow help them.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I know what will make this situation better. Shooting a round into the ceiling. That will absolutely convince the DJ. The DJ's like, you know what? You made a really compelling argument, and I've bumped you to the top of the list. Take it away.
Okay, all right, whatever you say.
Everybody just ignore the gunfire. We have a great performance by Jabroni over here.
Jablowski, whatever.
Jablowski, Jabroni.
Please pay attention to him. All right, bye.
Yeah, the DJ just takes off running, leaves all the equipment behind.
Yeah, had enough of this. All right, I think I can fit one more story in.
Do it. Cram it in there.
Yeah, let's
ram it right in there.
All right, well, that's a little weird.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
Damn,
Come on,
Mike.
shove it in.
Damn, Mike, I didn't even start the story yet.
I'm sleep deprived. I have no filter.
All right, well, we're moving slightly north.
Okay.
Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Slightly north.
So much better than Florida.
Yeah, so here we go. Georgia in this story. And this is just a quick story, so this is perfect timing here. A random Georgia man who was drunk. Like, I want to know how these people are just drunk and then they just appear at places. I don't know.
They just appear. You make it sound like they're summoned there.
Yeah, like how does this happen? Why is this dude here? A Georgia man who was drunk saw a police car parked with two officers in it, opened the rear door of it, which was unlocked, sat in the back, threw up, and then asked for a ride home.
This cannot be made good. It's shameful. It's a shameful, shameful day.
Look, he was trying to do the responsible thing.
He wasn't drinking and driving.
Right.
Yes, that is true.
He gets it. He throws up. He's like, look, you can either drive me home or I can drive myself home. And that's on you.
Or I can keep throwing up in your police car.
Right. The faster you drive, the faster I stop throwing up. If you get me home, I can throw up there.
I just like the way that whole sentence was phrased. Like I could just imagine him open. Bleh, can you take me home?
Yeah.
Like that seems like something from like a comedy, like a
But also,
like a Hangover movie
but also,
or something.
What are the cops doing that? I guess if they were focused on like catching other criminals that are like looking forward, all of a sudden this guy just sneaks up and opens the door, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're a cop, you should have your head on a swivel. No. You should pay attention to things that are happening around you.
I don't know. I guess it depends on what the mood is. I mean, if you're just, if you're just waiting for like a traffic incident, you know how sometimes like cops like park to try and get like a
They're just hanging out there.
A trap or something.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you just get bored. You start like daydreaming, night dreaming. I guess whatever daydreaming, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Was this at night or during the day?
This was at night. This was Friday night. 31-year-old Andrew Davidson. Allegedly, this is exactly what he did. He opened the door, it was unlocked, stepped in, threw up, and then said, "Officers, can you please take me home?"
I think he was just trying to do the responsible thing.
Yeah.
He could have driven himself, but he didn't. He wanted to be a responsible citizen.
So I don't know where the car was. According to the news report, he lives in Statesboro, which is outside of Savannah.
Okay.
But I don't know where did the actual instance happen?
Like where the cops posted, yeah.
Yeah.
Like how far away from home did he end up stumbling?
Yeah, like I want to know, like, I'm actually from Indianapolis. Like,
yeah, right.
How far away is this drive?
I'm lost. I'm lost and violently ill and drunk. Drive me across state lines.
You gotta help me.
It comes out he's actually from Florida.
Yeah.
Wait, is Savannah closer to Florida or South Carolina?
Savannah's closer to South Carolina.
All right. Maybe he's a South Carolina man.
Yeah. But
I just like that he just invites himself in.
Yeah.
But also, is it weird that the doors are unlocked?
Yeah, I do find that weird. Shouldn't the doors be locked?
Doesn't that seem like kind of like a hazard?
Yeah.
Like, say you like lock somebody up, right? And you're like dealing with like another.
But there was nobody else in the car.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is imagine you're stopping, like, two people are involved in a crime, and you lock the one up, and you're dealing with the other one, and they somehow run over and open the door, and then the other one jumps out.
Well, but I think maybe then you would lock the door. I think maybe
I think they should just lock.
I think maybe the fact that they were kind of just sitting idling, and then maybe just have the door unlocked.
When I turn my car on and put it into gear, it automatically locks the doors, and it doesn't unlock until I turn the car off.
All right, well, Mr. Fancy Pants, the cops can't afford this kind of fancy car.
Well, they should then.
Not in Georgia. We can't afford these fancy cars.
They're driving a pickup truck. That's what it is.
Yeah, probably. The police report notes that he was under alcohol influence. Boy, yeah.
Wow. Whoa, man. That is top-notch reporting right there. Well, it was tough to figure it out, but we eventually discovered that he was actually drunk.
Yeah, wow.
No kidding. Regular Sherlock Holmes there in Georgia.
Yeah.
Or wherever. Yeah, Georgia.
Oh, man. I just realized I didn't read the ending of this story.
Uh-oh.
So they charged him with trespassing.
I mean, he did.
I guess.
Yeah.
But the poor guy, he was asking for help.
I feel like they baited him. Because if he had gone up to the door and it was locked, guess what? No trespassing charges.
They just throws up on the car.
He just throws up on the car, right. That's inconvenient, but not a crime.
Yeah, that could be an accident.
Right. Or would they book him under assault then?
Maybe. Maybe
he
it's worse.
Projectile vomited on the car. He assaulted the vehicle.
Vomit assault on a vehicle.
Can you assault a vehicle?
I don't know. It's cops. I don't know.
It's the cops. I don't know. Probably.
I don't think they should charge this man with trespassing. That sounds a little over the top.
I mean, like, clearly, I'm half joking, but he was trying, I guess, in a roundabout sort of way to do the responsible thing and not drive. Or maybe he's just,
Although, here is the other question, going back to my original point. Where did this guy come from?
Right. He just appeared.
You're right. Yeah. Like, is there a bar nearby? Is he just walking from the bar and he stumbled across? Like, where did this guy come from?
I would love to know where the cop car is, because I imagine, what if they're on the side of a highway?
What happens if they're in the middle of a field? This guy just
he just shows up.
It's like Field of Drunken Dreams.
If you drink it, they will come.
Officer, I will visit you, but I need some help.
I like to imagine they're on a remote highway, and he just somehow I don't know where he staggered his way from, but just through the woods.
Yeah, where did he come from? I want to know that.
Yeah.
So they actually put him in jail for the night, and then released him the next morning. And he has pleaded not guilty, so he's gonna try and fight it. Yeah, good for you.
Try.
Good for you.
They literally have your vomit. They do. They have your vomit. It wasn't me. They're like, sir, that is your chili dog. That is your beer in the floor of our cruiser.
That is your vodka shot.
That is your vodka shot. It's like, you're right. Can I get that back, actually? They have the evidence.
Ugh. All right. That's a little disgusting. But poor guy. I don't think he should have been charged with trespassing. I don't know.
What he did was...
Give him a break. He's having a rough night.
I don't know what...
He gets drunk, an alien picks him up, puts him outside
drops
of the field.
Him out there. He's like, oh my God.
He doesn't know where he's at. He's throwing up everywhere.
He got abducted from Michigan, and they just drop him in Georgia. He's like, come on, guys. Aliens don't know.
Yeah.
Aliens, you have to think the scale of the U.S., that's one city to aliens, maybe, in their weird galactic empire. So they're like, what's Georgia? That's just the next block over. We'll drop him here. He'll find his way home.
Yeah.
Not realizing that Georgia's really far away from Michigan. I don't know why. This is now the official story.
Yeah, no,
aliens abducted him.
All right. Well, unfortunately, we're going to have to just leave it at that. We have no other information on the guy, and That is
That's
enough
it.
to fill up the remaining portion of the Crisp Noodle podcast.
Yes.
What a story.
What a story.
And there you go. Those are the kinds of stories you can expect to hear on the Crispy Noodle podcast every week. If you like what you heard, make sure you go to our website, thecrispynoodle.com. Make sure you follow us on the social media channels that we have. But most importantly, make sure you have a way to get the episodes sent to you every week. We have two main ways to do that. First one is on our YouTube page. Go to our YouTube channel. It's under Crispy Noodle Podcast. We're already up to 41 subscribers on there, so
Nice.
we're making some headway there. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and you'll get these video podcasts sent to your YouTube account every week when they come live. And you can watch it on your computer, on your phone, on TV. You can actually watch us on TV, which is still interesting to me.
Yeah, put us up on the big screen. Why
Yeah,
not?
why not? You can if that is your preference. But the second main way to enjoy the podcast is on Spotify. We put the video podcast up on Spotify. But you can also use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay to take us on the go with you. So if you've got a commute, if you're driving through Georgia, if you're trying to find your home, I don't know, if you just showed up in a field.
For some reason, you're very lost and you need our guidance.
Yes, and you're thrown up everywhere. I don't know how to help you. But in terms of entertainment, we can help you with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You can take us on the go with you in your car. And you can enjoy the podcast that way as well.
That's right. So many ways to check out the Crispy Noodle podcast. But if you need to get in touch with us individually, you can find us on Blue Sky.
Yes.
Now.
We're on Blue Sky.
Individually there. I'm at Mikey Costanzo, I think, still. MikeyCostanzo. I will check if you message me. And Rich, you are?
I am still at my name, Rich Liebig, RichLiebig. You can find us on Blue Sky.
See, he's so much more professional with the social media.
Thank you.
It's kind of his job.
Thank you, yeah. So you can check us out there and let us know what's happening in your world. But for right now, we got to wrap this up. This has been the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. That'll do it. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Later. Bye-bye, all you fine peoples. Good night.
Some of us have great stories, pretty stories that take place at lakes with boats and friends and noodle salad. A lot of people, that's their story. Good times, noodle salad.